The Cannabis Show is for information only. You should always consult with a qualified and licensed physician or other medical care provider.
Welcome to the Cannabis Show. Today we learn about growing at home, have a closer look at the meditator, and answer your questions. All that and more.
Dr. Lester Grinspoon is Associate Professor Emeritus of Psychiatry at Harvard Medical School and was Senior Psychiatrist at the Massachusetts Mental Health Center in Boston for 40 years. He is a widely known advocate for cannabis. Dr. Grinspoon became interested in cannabis in the 1960s when its use in the United States increased dramatically. He, quote, had no doubt that it was a very harmful drug that was unfortunately being used by more and more foolish young people who would not listen to or could not believe or understand the warnings about its dangers. When Grinspoon began studying cannabis in 1967, his intention was to, quote, define scientifically the nature and degree of those dangers. But as he reviewed the existing literature on the subject, Grinspoon reached the conclusion he and the general public had been misinformed and misled. He found there was little empirical evidence to support his beliefs about the dangers of cannabis, and he was convinced cannabis was much less harmful than he had believed. The title of his first book, Marijuana Reconsidered, reflects that change in view. He has testified before Congress and as an expert witness in various legal proceedings, including the deportation hearings of John Lennon. Although Grinspoon has scaled back his activism and full-time Harvard teaching duties, he has not retreated from the war on cannabis. The doctor still runs 2 websites devoted to cannabis, helps patients, travels extensively lobbying for medical cannabis law reform, and is planning a new book about how cannabis has ability to enhance pleasure and achievement. Let's all tip our hats and say, thanks, Dr. Grinspoon.
Hi, and welcome to Ganja Gadgets. I'm Chris, we got Hart here.
Hey there.
And Hart, what is this little nifty thing that I'm holding?
You are holding a meditator.
A meditator,
Yeah,
I like that name.
Meditators, these are awesome little gadgets that you can basically open up. There's a storage space inside, but what's great about them is they're a little grinder to go.
Oh, sweet.
And these things are pretty powerful, I'll tell you. Most people would look at it and go, it's plastic, but no, it's got a really nice action to it, and it's quite strong.
And yeah, so you can just grind up a whole bunch of different things. Coffee bean?
You probably could grind
Really?
a coffee bean in there.
Yeah, it has teeth on the
Absolutely.
inside too, in case anybody was wondering.
Yeah, and what's also awesome about the meditator is that it is airtight, and it is watertight, and it is also smell-proof, so being airtight, obviously. So it's not going to, if you let it sit out and you actually have some ganja in there, it's not going to sort of proliferate the odor.
The entire living room and apartment complex and whatnot, or wherever you live. So you could be in the bath, falls in, and it's fine.
Absolutely, yeah, that's kind of a nice little perk to it as well. But
one thing we should probably mention too is that since it is kind of like a container that you can hold and store it in, really though, if you are out and about, remember you do want to keep your original bud in the actual bottle that it came in with your name, the doctor's name.
Yeah, make sure you're legal. Obviously.
Yeah, make sure.
That's the best advice. But yeah, these are great little things to travel with. Another really nice thing about the meditators, they're actually becoming quite of a bit of a collectible. So lots of different conferences out there, companies and whatnot are producing meditators with their logos and stuff on it. And so people are sort of coveting those and making sure they have all the different ones. And in fact, there's character ones out there now like Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you definitely collector's item right here with Natural Health Services on the front.
Absolutely. Make sure you get yours.
Sometimes when taking pharmaceuticals, side effects have side effects, and new pills are prescribed for each of those. Cannabis is a systemic approach to health because it works with our own internal systemic endocannabinoid systems. Cannabis simultaneously targets various conditions such as inflamed joints, high blood pressure, chronic pain, digestive disorders, constipation, headaches, insomnia, anxiety, cognitive awareness, and more. And cannabis has the potential for accentuating the effect of many commonly prescribed drugs. For example, opiate-based painkillers are typically enhanced when cannabis is used concurrently, often resulting in a reduction of pharmaceuticals, which could be taking their toll on liver, kidneys, and your gastrointestinal tract.
Hello, I'm Chris, and right here next to me is Evan, and really kind of a grow master. He's all been qualified, he's got all the legal paper and stuff with the ACMPR. If you want to get into growing and such, it's really easy, step by step on our website, naturalservices.ca. Just look at Grow at Home and it's all there. But we're going to just kind of move forward right now, and let's just say that, you got your license, your ACMPR, so you're allowed to grow. You got 5 plants. How do you go about getting those seeds or the plants themselves?
So the only source of legal starting material in Canada is from the licensed producers. When I say starting material, I'm talking either small plants or seeds. They range anywhere from about $20 for one plant all the way up to $150.
Now that's for the clones?
That's for the small plants.
Oh, okay.
Seeds range anywhere from $30 for a pack of 3 up to $55 for a pack of 3.
So I guess it's a little cheaper for the seeds, but I guess there's more steps when you start growing at home. You got to get it to bud inside and all that.
Definitely takes a little bit longer, and there's a few extra steps. But.
Now, I said clones earlier, and you kind of corrected me and said little plants. Is there a difference?
It's the same thing in clones. If you're not haven't heard that term before, it's used because it's going to be the same as whatever plant it came off of. So it's going to be the exact same. So that's what they call it, a clone. But it is essentially just a small plant.
Okay. So essentially, once you've seen the doctor, you've sent in, you register with that company that can sell clones or seeds. You send the medical paperwork probably through Natural Health Services. So once you get to decide which strain you want?
Yes, there's tons to choose from, everything from Jack Herrera to blackberry CBD. There's all kinds to choose from.
And so you get like these plants, they actually come in the mail.
You betcha, shipped with a little LED light inside.
Is it really?
Yeah, very neat.
Oh, wow, so it's all ready to go, and then I guess it's all about care after that. Of course, that would be for another segment, but I mean, when you're talking about like these plants growing, is there a difference between growing like a sativa or an indica?
There's definitely lots of small differences, but it's going to be mostly physical characteristics, but also the environment they like. Sativa is probably going to like hotter, dry climates. Indicas are probably used to something a little bit cooler. But each plant is going to be very, very different.
Yeah. So like when you pick out your strain, maybe do like a good Google search on how to grow that particular strain.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to do some research. There's definitely some that are easier than others. Some strains definitely are more complicated. There's lots of places to research, including like leafly.com is a great place.
Awesome, thanks Evan. Well, I mean, that kind of clears some of that up, but there's so much more to go with growing, so we're gonna have more with growing tips. Thank you very much, Evan. You can ask us anything on the Cannabis Show. I'm Chris, we got Kate here and Hart, and today's question comes from Sergio, and he says, I really like this question actually. It says, if I like the strain Blue Dream, can I expect the same kind of Blue Dream from a different type of licensed producer? Will I have the same effects?
Yeah, all right, well, I gotta say, I like the strain Blue Dream too, Sergio. But in order to get the exact same effects from Blue Dream, say that you bought from one LP to the other, that's gonna be really tough to do. I mean, there are so many different factors that come into play when you're talking about differences from licensed producers, how it's grown, what it's grown in, who's growing it. There's a lot of different factors at play, so that's gonna be a tough one. Generally speaking though, Blue Dream is a sativa dominant hybrid, so if nothing else, you're going to get a sativa dominant hybrid, hopefully from the other LP, but you never know.
Make sure you talk to your licensed producer and figure out exactly what type of effects that they are claiming that it has, and then you can kind of go from there. But generally speaking, it's generally the same types, like sativa versus indica or hybrid versus,
I got one example though, it's kind of funny. It was actually from the same licensed producer, and it was, I think it was a God Kush, but at one point it was 28, and the next time I saw it it was 15% THC, like, you know.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Lots of differences in, you know, growing, just maybe the how long it was cured for. There are many different factors in determining, you know, the strength of the different cannabinoids, the strength of the terpenes. So yeah, just because one LP has a certain strain at a certain strength doesn't mean the next time it comes around it's going to be exactly the same. I mean, they're striving for consistency, but that's not always possible.
That's why they can't actually say the level of THC in it
Until
after it's
Right,
yeah.
right. Awesome. Well, thanks, guys, and I hope that helped you, Sergio. If you got a question for us here at the Cannabis Show, the Cannabis Show at naturalhealthservices.ca, just send them an email.